Yeah, so today I went out to fetch supplies. I mean, I already have enough to live on.
You went out around people?
Yeah, I was scoping out the coronavirus population density around the stores because I had to do grandparent errands. This is Gigi Nori, by the way. We're going to talk about a topic, but for right now, we're talking about something else. And on the way to the parents' house, I noticed that Publix was looking a little scanty in its population density, right? So I thought I could swing in there and load up on butter and Monster energy drinks. And that's exactly what I did.
Smart.
Public showing a little leg.
You know, the thing we found out is that the limiting reagent in our household as far as food goes is butter. How much butter do you have on hand?
That's right, because you want to bake, almost everything you gotta have some butter.
Yep.
Or at least you should have butter to make it good.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong with butter.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Name it.
So I got a bunch of that, and
Prove
I
me
got
wrong.
2 10-packs of the white Monster energy drink.
Oh, wow.
I have been surviving purely off coffee for the past, I don't know how long, 2 weeks.
Seems horrible.
It really is not a life worth living.
I mean, I am of the small opinion of not caring too much about the effects on me and getting infected because I'm not around anybody ever that I would potentially do harm to, like old people or really sick people. So I just go to the gas station and I grab me some when I can.
Yeah, I stocked up on like a 28 count of orange sugar-free monsters prior to the outbreak. So now those are in my fridge.
Yeah, you sent us a picture like, hey, I got some for next game night. And then like the
What
next
up?
day we're like, oh, we're
Next
having
Oh
game night.
man,
Are they still going to be there after all this?
yeah,
Probably.
I hope so for my health.
In like in 12 to 18 months of this.
They're really good too.
Yeah.
I've seen all the pictures of, when you start a Fallout game and you finally come out of the bunker and take a look at the vista.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like when we finally get together again for a D&D game.
I haven't seen you since the plague.
I know it. So we do have a topic tonight that we've been kicking back and forth. And warning, dear listener, I have no idea how long this is going to go. It might be 20 seconds. But at least you got some real life information. That's what you're really here for, is to hear how a bunch of random people are dealing with quarantine during coronavirus. But the topic we have is art in RPGs. That is the topic. There's nothing more specific than that.
And when he says kicking it back and forth, we've literally not talked about it at all besides the title.
Yeah, when I say kick it back and forth, I mean like I kick it once and saying, "How about we talk about this?" and somebody says, "Okay, that's 2 kicks."
Uh-huh.
And then we all went, well, we should wait for Jim.
Yeah, that was it.
That's
So,
3.
Jim, we're waiting on some truly earth-shattering revelations for you to say tonight.
Profound.
Come on, man, drop the mic.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this earlier today, and I thought, let's make a distinction between art and information design and graphic design. Now, graphic design is a little bit trickier to make a distinction between, but let's definitely make a distinction between art and information design. Like, we're not talking about how data is displayed to you on the page for optimal running or ingestion.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that all of the art that I've drawn for Dermis would be solely just for, just to see what something looked like. No
Illustrative, you might say.
youth.
But that's isn't that data in a sense, or just no?
It is, but there's nothing that you can take from it that would
Like
help
how many
you
words could you use
in
to
the
describe
system.
it? Right.
Finger, hand, ear, tongue, mouth.
Well, it's easy. It's literally a finger.
Yeah.
It's like, does it have arms and legs?
Yes, but it's still
No,
just a finger.
Fingers have arms and see. Look, I thought it didn't. There
Yeah.
you go. We're diverging already. I need a graphic. There you go.
Hold on, give me a second.
Somebody draw me a finger.
Do you guys want me to jump this off with high voltage charge?
Oof.
I would
Oh.
like the hot takes. What is the hot take?
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
I think to the enlightened non-consumer consumer, right? The person the workman, the craftsman, the person who purchases an RPG product in order to be able to do things. Art is almost useless. But for marketing purposes and for getting normies excited, it is essential. That is my position.
I mean, like for the DM mainly. Like they don't care about the art. They want the content. They want the the presentation and the rules and the stuff like that. Like they're not gonna look at the pictures and care about that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and it may obscure. I don't know. It may obscure those mechanics that you actually care about. Like I don't know. It can look so cool, but it's not actually that cool at all.
So I was thinking about this when I was playing. So there's a game called Mork Borg that just came out, a Swedish RPG, and one of our patrons was so kind as to run a session and invite me, so I had played in it. But I had been looking at it before and following along with its development and release, and I'd seen some of its rules. And the striking thing about Mork Borg is its art and graphic design. It's very striking, bold, lots of blacks and yellows and blood splatters and gore and big punchy pictures to go along with a small amount of text on the page, that sort of thing. So it's almost like a coffee table book kind of presentation, I would say. And at least the pages I've seen. And I really like it. I think it's a great way to get people excited about the game, because when I saw that, I immediately was attracted to it. But the game itself
Fair.
is fine. But it's just D&D. Like, and the procedures that I've seen, it's just D&D hacks. So the art is suggesting one thing, but it's not producing anything by the actual rules of the game that is unique to that art, that's not found as in BX or 5e run in a kind of hardcore mode. You know what I'm saying?
So it makes it look more fun to DM and play than it actually is fun to DM and play.
Well, I don't know that it's more or less fun. It's just
okay.
like it's
It's a mod.
suggesting a particular aesthetic that the rules do not themselves convey.
Yes, exactly.
More than the similar rules that it's based on. However,
Yeah, maybe fun's not the right word.
yeah, but I could see maybe how art might influence you subconsciously even to play or run the game in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the stuff that I've done, I don't think you could truly understand what I'm trying to convey without like showing you a picture of it. Because like if I say it's a fingernail with a mouth on it that has an eye that comes out, like you can picture it, but I have a specific like design of what it looks like.
Yeah.
But you truly wouldn't be able to understand what you're fighting without looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's maybe different kind of art. I mean, you really are trying to communicate something that is just difficult to communicate with words.
Yeah.
Or maybe sometimes even impossible, nearly impossible to communicate. Like, like Daniel spent a while trying to communicate this skull architecture to us at the entrance of the dungeon in Dungeon Academy. When the diagrams actually made it pretty clear when you got to see the diagram from the side. and the
Yeah, I
front
didn't
view.
really have a problem understanding that.
Well, let's put it this way, he spent a lot of time explaining it. Let's put it that way. I also addressed it pretty well, but it was like 10 minutes later. He's like, "No, listen, no."
Yeah, no, I think like
It's a
we all got
semicircle.
the gist. Yeah, we got the gist of it, and then we'd be like, okay, but cool. Then I go behind it. He's like, there is no behind it. It's like, dang it.
So that kind of thing is useful. But I think it's not very hard to think about like an example of something that just has very pretty, very evocative art. I guess of certain feelings and emotions and genres, but then doesn't have any meat to it at all, or very little meat. Like I don't think it's that hard to think of examples.
I like to think about the 5e Player's Handbook as an example.
That's exactly what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah, well, not just the Player's Handbook, but all the core rules, and in fact, all of 5e. It has generally pretty good art. Like it's very competent, of course, and some of it is very evocative and compelling. Like when I opened up the PHB for the first time, I was super excited to play D&D, just because I was looking at cool stuff.
Yeah, like it is a legitimate work of art, like on scale with some of the prettiest things that have been made. I mean, it's the detail, the difficulty in thinking of reproducing that on your own in some kind of way. It's just stellar stuff. But
Belongs in a museum.
yeah, so it's almost like a thing alongside of the rules, not a thing that complements the rules, adds to it in any kind of way. It may even be distracting from what you maybe should be doing with your time, instead of looking at the pretty pictures and reading the rules that were nearly the same rules that you were playing last D&D or whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you can look at the cool aesthetics of PHBs or whatever, but then that doesn't really translate into 5e. 5e is basically just like the same D&D as it's been forever, but house ruled and streamlined in some certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think the value of the art scales with the experience level of the person, but inversely. So like,
Okay, yeah.
so like as a newbie, having sort of visual tools to help me get what's being described is probably really helpful. Whereas maybe if you've done this for a long time, you become less
Yeah.
likely to need that crutch.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking of it from a numbers standpoint, you don't really need to know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you are going to say, hey, you've not played an RPG before, or you've not played this RPG before, check this out. Does this look like something you would be interested in? And then someone can immediately have a reaction to that without you having to sit there and say, well, the killer app of this system is that you get a generalized, you don't have to do all that stuff. So
I mean, but that assumes that the art is somehow related. I guess you're just looking at it as a whole packaged product. But it's like there's art, and then there's these rules. But
Yeah, well, it's
I just
like-
happen to package them together for marketing purposes.
if you're going to talk to a guy you want to play in your game, you say, you want to play D&D, you get to be this guy. And you get to go here. And you get to fight these.
Yeah, look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
I
gotta
can't
look
show
at it.
anybody any of my stuff.
They will definitely not want to play
That comes
it.
later.
There's a reason it's not published. you're like sneaky. You spring it on. You're like, hey, you want to play a game? I'm like, yeah, I like
fun.
games.
It takes
Hey,
place in
little
this
boy, you wanna
fantastical-
play a
It's like, no, what is that? What is that?
You're a monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that's my
But,
thought. Oh, so let's think of another example. Silent Titans.
I
This
literally
is-
was thinking of that one as well.
Okay.
I don't know if we talked much about it, but
haven't.
having spent a good amount of time in the book,
Oh, you have it. That's right.
yeah, and I'm still planning on running something from it.
Okay.
But okay, that's still on the agenda. What I'm trying to put together is how I should go about doing that, because we talked. I want it to be episodic and not like, let's just jump in and kind of play Silent Titans for a minute, because I don't think it will really capture the content that well to do that, and it'll probably just be really short, and I don't know, you guys won't really get it, but with some light editing, I think I can put something together. Anyways, I digress. Trying to do that is a lot harder than you might think. You might say, oh, these Titan things, they're really cool. Why don't we just play one of those or something like that? And yeah, the pictures are cool. The maps are really cool. But then really looking at it, I don't know how interesting the content really is in an episodic way without taking the whole context of it and the interplay of all the all the parties, all the stakeholders in the Silent Titan area, in the woo-woos and all that. So,
Woo-woos?
woo-woos,
Yeah, what
woo-woos,
was that?
woo-woos,
You
and all
can't
that.
just drop that in a conversation and then walk away.
Don't worry about it.
Woo-woo?
All I mean is that it's a game that definitely for me, looked a lot more fun to play than it probably actually would be.
Yeah. It also features yellow rather prominently in its art, doesn't it?
It does. Yep.
What is up with the Yellow Gang? Morkborg, Silent Titans.
I think it's really it really is eye catching.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's my favorite color.
But I mean, there's definitely some good stuff in there. But like running a Titan probably wouldn't be that interesting or good.
What does that mean,
Really?
running a Titan?
Like the Titans as dungeons.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you're literally like inside them, or inside, I guess more like interdimensional projections of them through time.
Yep, you
Don't
lost
worry
me.
about it. It's fine. But that is literally what they actually are. So they're not necessarily Titans themselves, but they're representative of the Titans. There's some extension of them through time and through dimensions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, kill. Okay.
well, that's the thing.
It doesn't sound fun.
And that's why I say like trying to.
Show me a picture.
Yeah, but I don't know if the picture really captures the meaning of it. I guess that might sound kind of wild to say, but like, it's not exploring the inside of a physical entity that is actually a Titan. There's so much of it that's representative and kind of abstract and obscure. There's actually a dungeon which I probably will not run, so I'll just go ahead and spoil a little bit of it. But each room is its own reality, and you, through acting in that reality as the character that you're put in the shoes of, you go to other rooms and you can see through your actions how the rooms are connected.
Do you know that there are different realities when you go into them? Because if not, that sounds exhausting.
Like you'll see as when you enter the dungeon, everything is immediately different. Like I think the first room is like you're in an asylum. You're you're strapped to a wheelchair in a straight jacket
Okay.
or something like that. And there's a figure who's lecturing you and berating you and questioning you and whatever. Okay. And you take certain actions and you go into another room where you're a scientist running experiments on rats.
Patrick Stewart was just like, hey, what if every room is a different reality?
Hold on.
That's funny because Patrick
Okay, so it's from the
is
same people
British,
that did the-
and we like Patrick Stewart on this podcast.
We love, we are huge fans.
So this is the same people that did Deep Carbon Observatory?
Yep.
Okay. Is the art the same?
No, it's by a
No.
different guy.
Because
Art's
I
really
think
cool, but it's by a
The
different guy.
DCO art, like as sketchy and different as it is, it still conveys like the feeling of DCO. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I would say that's art that it barely represents the thing, but you get a good feeling of what the thing is.
Right. It transcends the work. It could stand on its own.
Art lies, but illustration illuminates. That's my that's my take.
That's a good hot take, actually. It's a good hot take. But you look at this. Okay, so say that dungeon I was talking about. So you look at the physical map of it, and it's roughly in the shape of like a person or something like that. Like it is called the name of the Titan and all that stuff. But none of the spaces are actually physical spaces at all. Like there is no physical space. They're only connected, each of these realities, through an action. Which again, it's neat and experimental and all that. Would it be very fun for you guys? I don't know.
Not as like a one shot, because like I don't have any reason to
Yeah.
care. Unless there's like a lot of character centric stuff that gets you involved, which I don't know. Running one shots is a thing. It's a whole different thing. Maybe if you knew you were going to be there for a while, but I don't know enough about the setting to even know what you do in it. Not that this is terribly related to art, but
Yeah, that's not why we're here, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think that it's an interesting setting. But again, I think that the art definitely makes it seem a lot cooler than what it actually is.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe the best match of art to game of recent games is just like Apocalypse World, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like the art's pretty scant and not really all that, but it kind of gets the point across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you play Apocalypse World, you feel like you're embodying the spirit of the art, I feel like.
I guess like I mean there's part of me that's like I wonder, like when you're reading a book, you don't have any idea what these characters look like, and I wonder how much they want to leave that up to DM interpretation. So is less art better? I don't know.
I think
Maybe
I think
there's.
Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and maybe there's something about a story that captures your attention and causes you to imagine it in a way that RPGs just don't. I don't know. Like that is absolutely a thing. Yeah, having books without illustrations, yes, it works. It makes sense, right? You don't have to really know what anybody looks like or anything really. But in games, for whatever reason, any popular game book seems just packed full of illustrations or art that is mostly unrelated.
It may also be due to the interactivity of the medium, because in a book you're just a receptacle. You're just getting stuff told to you, but you need to be a more active participant in a game.
Yeah.
So it's
You would
more-
spend so much time describing things when you could just say, "Hey, this is what it looks like."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Well, that's all I have to say. I feel like art is more useful for getting people, like for marketing, getting people interested in the game, whether like face to face or literally marketing, and for maybe players to give them an idea, like quickly, what the game is supposed to be like. But for the GM, it's irrelevant.
Well, if you're running someone else's game, it could be useful to get across a difficult concept. But I think at the same time, it could also obscure those concepts. I could name some that we've played in the past, but I dare not speak its name. So
They're not.
Nope.
All right. Well,
No, I don't want to get canceled today.
do you guys feel like this subject is covered? I feel like it is covered.
I feel like it's exhausted.
So tired.
So great.
Leave
So
it
illustration, marketing, and to attract and get players to sort of engage in the rules. Gotcha.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
So
While I'm in quarantine, head over to YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button. You can catch my daily drawings every day, live stream. I'm just kidding, I don't have that.
yeah, quarantine has been great for me. I do the same stuff I always do, and don't ever have to get out.
Ditto, except now I have 3 children and waifu in the house.
All the time. You're not.
I could be like, y'all, I'm still working, y'all. My work is not affected. I am down here working. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep on saying pretend I'm not here. Just
It
ignore
didn't work
me.
for me.
Doesn't
I
work.
said that before anyway. Guys, please.
And, yeah, for me, I'm still mostly working, but half of what I do or 90% of what I do in any given day, it was not going on right now. So it's mostly medical patients and no elective procedures and all that stuff. So
All right, well, maybe we'll all come out of this on the other side and have more standard GG No Re content. We are still playing, but we're playing on Roll20, and I'm not confident enough in the entire scenario to record an actual play of it because we're not very smooth in the process yet, so it'd be, I think, tremendously boring listening. I might try to end up saving the screen. What do the kids call it these days? Recording the screen of
Capture?
Screen capture. Yeah, okay.
Streaming?
I work in technology.
What?
Might do
Twitch.
that to show like what's going on the game, because the entire time we have a map up and the characters are moving around and that kind of thing. But we're not doing that anytime this week. So this next episode will just be audio, and maybe we'll experiment with a little short clip of video capturing our game, but we'll have to see about that. Do we have any closing remarks?
I feel like we're experimenting with some different formats during the quarantine, trying to sort this all out.
Yeah.
It's we're so used to gaming face to face. This is so new to us, and we haven't had many good experiences. I'd say, playing remotely.
No, it's been kind of but we're trying to make it better, trying to make it work. Lots of people do this, and this is the only way they game. So
That's
we'll catch
sad.
up.
Yeah, I definitely think it misses something, but it's serviceable. There you go.
That's just
I'm just
what
bummed out y'all don't get to see my sweet plague stash that I've grown.
Oh no.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fuzzy too, man.
Plus, we'll never figure out when Tim's actually gone to sleep.
Joke's on you.
He's
No,
He's
already-
already-
last time I was like, is he asleep? No, there he is. No, but one thing, I don't know if you mentioned this, the dungeon, it was kind of fun having torches and seeing the map on here be completely black, because
Yeah,
we don't
that's
even
cool.
we don't get the fog of war grayed out afterwards, whatever that's called. I don't
in
know.
Roll20, that's called Advanced Fog of War, but I don't use that.
Exactly. So once we leave an area, it's black, and all we have is I have like a map, like a mini map written on a 2x2 pink post-it note in the corner of my computer, and that's what I've been using. That's all that we've had. So I don't know if you guys taking maps?
Yeah, I had my
Okay.
my map earlier. I was trying to update it. when we
Okay,
played.
so Tim had a mini map. Okay, good.
Well,
But anyway, so I thought that was curious, and that's something that's definitely hard to do on a tabletop.
yeah, I mean, we do verbal description, I think, pretty well among our cohort, I should say. But it's just not the same as actually seeing it represented in space. And that will be GG No Re.